Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I am C. Hope you're doing well, and this is your weekly sports card chart blast where we take a look at the price action of your and mine, yours, mine, ours, favorite collectibles. So, price is truth. Liking this video is truth, and subscribing is the way, the truth, and the life. Let's get it started here with Mike Trout in a PS 810. Continues to grind a little bit lower here. You have some purchases in that $2,500, $2,600 area, and it gets snapped up pretty quickly. So it looks like that $2,800 area is kind of where where a lot of buying is coming in. So we saw that in here as well, and it stair stepped a little bit lower. So while the trend is down, it's going to be a gradual grind if it continues to go lower, because there's a lot of people that are interested in this card. So if we can just hang on to this for like another month or so, then we'll start to get into the baseball silly season and some speculation, and then maybe it can grind up, and this will create room for other cards. And that's why it's important to start with Trout. I know it's getting boring looking at them every week, but if you look at those big dogs, you know, no one's going to be paying more for anybody else. And so that's going to kind of lead the way, although there's cards that can move up and down below that, but it is going to put a cap on certain things here. BGS 9 might offer a little bit of relative value here. So you know, this is a card that we're looking for maybe $800-900 or something like that, and so that's where it's kind of sitting here and getting a little bit of lift. So while the trend is down, your risk reward sets up a little bit more favorably on that particular card. And the Bowman Chrome, the base, and the BGS 9.5 breaking this area of support here and quickly getting snapped up. So the trend is down, but the risk reward is favorable. We've seen some buying in this area here, and so we'll see if we can get a lift towards the top of the range here, and hopefully a breakout at some point. But the card market as a whole, I mean, it's healthy, but you know, the people are just moving around a lot faster, and they're looking for higher end stuff overall here. And this is not the most expensive card in the world, and you can see the momentum is still down as well. So again, rips are for selling until further notice. Mookie Betts Chrome update PSA 10, making some new lows here. So the base card's gotten absolutely hammered, and the Chrome is following suit here. So coming into an area that's at least interesting, but you know, as long as it keeps making you know, new lows, then it's not something that I am super interested in. So the Chrome update in a raw is a little bit more interesting. So coming off the top of its range here, but you're talking about you know, $100, and so this was at 200 not that long ago, and really upwards of 800. You know, or was that $600 in the not too distant past, and so it was even higher earlier. But yeah, it continues to grind lower, and yeah, this is, you know, like, again, you know, he and Harper are kind of like your number 2 guy among the active players that aren't already, you know, in the Hall of Fame or anything like that. So we're starting to see a lot of good. We're seeing lower prices. Whether or not it's good value, that remains to be seen here. But when you look at the prices of so Francisco Lindor, not a good season at all, right? But he's done enough in his career to put himself on a really solid long-term path, and so got to believe that, you know, his internals weren't horrible by any stretch here. There was a lot of unluck, and, you know, a lot of, you know, lack of luck or whatever, and he's on the Mets, so that's not going to help anybody either. But you know, look at this card. There's under 1,000 of these PSA 10s, and this is, you know, an update card here. So you're talking about 80, you know, $90, under $100. And if you want a PSA 10 of like Soto, Tatis, or anything like that, I mean, these guys have 16, 17,000, you know, examples of the PSA 10, and you know, so there's not a lot of demand for it. I get it. He's not the new hotness or anything like that, but I think there's a lot of relative value in some of these guys. Nolan Arenado also at the bottom of his range, momentum turning up again, but still on a sell signal here off of you know, what was it, like a $300 card at one point, and now you're looking at $80 for a guy that, again, this is like the Yadi Molina who can hit. You know, he's in gold glove every year, defines the position defensively, and he's no slouch at the plate either. So I think this is you're getting to an area where, yeah, maybe it goes lower, but for me, I don't care. You know, I've kind of got these, but it's like that. All right, the 10 looks pretty darn interesting at this juncture. So not that I expect them to rocket back up to where they were or anything like that, but I do think that you know, you're not going to hurt yourself too bad if you start looking at some of these guys at this point here. Juan Soto in the PSA 10 sitting at the bottom of his range. Yeah, that 125, 135 area is kind of what we're looking at here. But again, you look at this, you know, 18,000 of these cards out there. Should he really be in, you know, he's a couple years in, he looks like a generational type player, I get it, but, you know, should he be, you know, going for 40-50% more than those guys that have been around for, you know, 8-10 years and have a track record? So I'm not going to argue with that's the fundamental argument. This is the price argument. So the price is truth again. So it doesn't matter what we think here. So the pink refractor getting a little bit of a lift. It had a big pop here. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Oh, more buying in here, and so it came back, and now it's getting a lift here. So again, this is kind of your range in that you're currently sitting at $1,200, so $1,000 to $1,200 is kind of your price on that PSA 10. Now the 9s, you're not gonna get like that 3-to-1 discount or something like that on these higher end cards. It's more like a 1-to-2, so you know you're probably still gonna have to pay $500-600 for that PSA 9. Topps Chrome Vlad Guerrero PSA 10. Momentum continues to grind lower, and he's working off that negative momentum by just going sideways for the most part. He had a fake break below and it rocketed up, and that was too much, brought up to resistance. You're like, no, wait for it to get back in here, and here you are again. So lots of buying in historically. If it grinds lower, you probably have more people coming in saying, oh wow, these prices get cheaper, and they could grind it lower for sure to this $100 level. Not saying that's what's going to happen by any stretch here, but you know, this is kind of your area here. Now if you see it punch below and start seeing a couple transactions below this, then you want to exit, because it's the downtrend is going to continue at that point. But for right now, you're sitting at support and could get a decent pop. And again, if we can just hold on to this price for another month and a half, then that speculation will start up again. And I think this is, Tatis and Vlad and Soto, all those guys are the ones that are going to be the beneficiaries of a lot of that speculation. So the refractor, we were looking for some relative outperformance out of some of those retractors, and we got a pretty nice spike. So as triggers, one of his bar hookups would say, is that it? So quickly gave that up, and now you're at support once again for Vlad. So they're all kind of doing the same thing here, hanging on to support, which is a good sign as long as it hangs on there, and the buyers keep coming in. With populations under 1,000, it doesn't take a whole lot of buyers to overwhelm whatever selling comes in for the time being. So looks interesting enough. But again, leaking below is a bad sign, so it's something that we'll just monitor here. 2018 Topps, there's just the base, just so you're limited to 16,000 of these things out there. So trend remains down at Tatis, and now you're getting into an area again. If it up here was kind of the sell and the broken trend. In this area, it looks interesting enough. You had a lot of buying in here, but once you start breaking below that, the trend is, you're just going to come down to an area where there's been more buying historically. Right in this area here, there wasn't a lot of memory, so coming back into that, it was, that makes some sense. But right in here is your next level of support here. So $170, $100. I don't know if it gets down to 70. If it does, it probably doesn't stay there very long. I think people would be pretty happy to pick it up if it gets to that area. But that, again, for the rest of the card market, all those prices are going to be repriced. So again, the price is lower, but is it a good value? I don't know. But anyways, you're hitting this important support zone here. So $125 roughly. So you could have some downside to that 100, and if it gets there, that's a pretty decent spot. But if it starts to go lower, then I think you need to be quick. I don't think it hangs down here a lot with all this interest in the card. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, the trend on Tatis remains down in the pink. It did hit its support zone here, and so you're starting to see buying pick up. So again, the trend is down on that one as well. But this is an area where there's been a lot of buying, and with these low population counts, it's really easy for that demand to overwhelm whatever supply exists. And that's kind of what you're seeing is people just, they're going into those higher end cards. One, because the prices are lower, so they're not multiple thousands of dollars. You're sitting at a couple $100 for the most part. So you'll get more attractive, but they're just wanting to, with fewer people. There are less people than there were, last year, even though there's more people than there were a couple years ago, probably. So you'll just have people kind of gravitate towards these higher end cards. Parallels or whatever, more limited, produced just to kind of hold on to their investment. Sapphire, same thing here. So grinding down, but you're in an area where there's been some buying in the past. So it can continue to go lower here. Rips are for selling, but again, held up. It's still off, 50%, but it's still commanding a higher price because that's what people are interested in. Rafael Devers, I think, will be a pretty decent target here. We like him at $60. Sell him at about $100 or so, and it's really hanging around to that $80 range for the most part. So on those dips, you do probably want to pick on up if you don't have one, because he's a really good player. Bryce Harper, big lift off of support outside the range. Said no, wait for it to come back in. It's back in here. So Another player that I think people are warming up to, whatever you think of him personally. It's like, all right, you can't deny the track that he's on here. Shohei Ohtani grinding down. Bottom of the range getting a little bit of a lift, but this is a broken up trend, so this could be more of a retest, and the prices could continue to head lower, perhaps at $80 level. Looks pretty darn interesting, but even long term, that's not a player that I'm super interested in, but he's going to get, doesn't matter what I think, and there's enough people that are, so let's see if we can get enough to push those prices up. A lot of these are going to get really popular. Juan De Franco, if he's in that Topps Series 1, which he should be, I think you'll have a lot of people going back and looking for these cards here, and this looks like as interesting as the level as we've had in recent memory. All right, moving on to football. Tom Brady, PSA 10. That 2000 Bowman Chrome continues to grind upwards here, sitting around $21,000. So can it make it to its previous high price? Well, right now, the trend would say, yeah, it could steadily make its way back up there. But for us poor schmucks, PSA 9 in the skybox is looking pretty good. $500 for something that is grinding slightly upwards as well. Lots of buying in this area here. So even if it goes down, it's not going to be this quick drop or anything like that. There's too many people that are interested in. So yeah, as that Bowman continues to grind up, people will start to trade down, and those others could start to play a little bit of catch up. So Patrick Mahomes needs to play some catch up. He's not out to a great start here, and breaking support. He's continues to make some new lows here in recent memory, but this is an area where there's been a lot of attention paid to his cards in the past. So as long as we can hold on to it here. But any break below this will be, if it's not staffed up quickly, will be a large problem for that particular card here. Baker Mayfield, just absolutely puking below that $400 level. So a little bit of buying here, but now you got to wait for it to come back into a more area of more solid support, and it looks like it's getting to that point here. OBJ is out of town, and that may be addition by subtraction. He seems to play better without him, so we'll see how that goes. But I think it's time to start putting Mr. Mayfield perhaps on your radar. So not that this is the bottom, but I think if you get into this zone here, then you start to look a little bit harder at him. So subtraction by addition. I don't know. So see what Herbert can do here. Anyways, he's grinding down to the lower part of his range here with these spikes, but selling has taken place at this level before. So now you're coming down to the $400 level where it could get interesting. So that's off 2/3 from his high there. So again, that's not like that was the price or anything like that. So going lower doesn't mean, oh hey, great value or anything like that. It just means the price is a lot lower, but it's starting to look like it's interesting here. But a lot of the football cards, unless you're kind of the GOAT or whatever, they don't look too healthy here. So there's opportunities here and there. But Derek Carr, top of the range, coming back off, getting a little bit choppy here, but in an area where buying has stepped up, and he's having a pretty darn good season. Was he top 4 in passing yards or something like that? Carson Wentz playing. Trigger warning. Hey, Trigger, buddy, go grab some more paint thinner or something like that. We'll get back to you in a minute here. Carson Wentz, Prism Silver. Just wanted to follow up on the breakdown here on this one. So we retested a couple times. So the trend remains down on this one here, and this is the pretty key area of support. And if it can't hang on to that, then you're talking sub $100, and it's currently sitting at $189. So risk reward sets up favorably for the most part. If it keeps making those new lows though. Rips are for selling is what I'm saying here on this one. Matt Stafford here, number 1 passer for the league, hanging around the all-time high. So he'll have to keep it up to maintain this, and we'll have to get some people on board to really keep those prices up there. So if people start to lose a little bit of interest because he's been around for a while, all that kind of good stuff, then those prices go down. So right at the highs, I don't know if you do anything with that one. How many more people are going to come in to push those cards higher? Joey B having a really nice season as well. So getting a little bit choppy here as not a ton of interest in his cards, but maybe that is an opportunity. So the trend does remain down. You fake break to the top rings or the bottom of the range, and then again you're just starting to rip around here. But this is an area where there's been lots of buying. So we've seen it here where there's been lots of buying, and it continues to grind lower. So pay attention and dump it if you get a nice pop on it if you can. But I think the way he's playing, that price is perhaps a little bit of a disconnect here. Not a disconnect. Okay, as a quarterback, not doing too well, but as a rusher, he's like your fourth leading rusher for the season here. So maybe he should be priced as a running back, which would imply some lower prices here. So his PSA 9 is sub $100. So if we saw something in that $300 range for Lamar Jackson, wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world here. Breaking this is kind of your last stand here, and he's breaking that. So. We'll see if he can get some attention here. Then that's a great sign. But there's not a lot of buying until you get to that sub $400 area here, and that's where it may have to go as people start to turn their attention to playoff level teams and baseball and all that kind of good stuff here. So the PSA 10 silver, however, is holding up pretty well, and again, that's what we're saying here. These these lower population cards, lower printed cards. People are happy to pay up for those, and so go for the low dollar speculation or find those higher end cards, and I think you can hang on to your gains or something like that. For flipping purposes, though, those base ones not looking awesome here. So just a quick supply demand, your price and your quantity. So for the silvers and all that kind of good stuff, the numbered cards, as that supply is reduced, then to meet the demand, and the price has to naturally rise. So you have your equilibrium price, and things just reset if you reduce that supply line over, and then the price just rises. And that's how that works. So Econ 101 for you. Nick Chubb, bottom range, getting a lift. You're probably going to be your number one running back going forward. With Derrick Henry out. So looks interesting enough. I think if you wait, you can have your line in the sand right there. We do not have Jonathan Taylor, who's also having a great year, but we do have Lawrence Taylor. So let's look at him, and this is in a consolidation zone here. So he's consolidating, respecting his upper and lower boundary, but he's hanging in pretty well here. So high price. He's gotten smoked like the rest of the market here. Yeah, he's gotten smoked like a Joe Theismann sack. So but yeah, he's gotten hit with the rest of the market. So not like it's a safe place or anything like that, but he's not getting killed. And there's a lot of people interested in this card, and it seems like a pretty decent level for that one. Cooper Kupp, top of the range, having a fantastic season. Can you keep it going? Keep people getting interested here. So where selling has taken place in the past, so careful with that one. And Deebo Samuel having an amazing season as well. He's top 2 or 3 in receiving yards here. That PSA 10 getting a lift off the bottom of the range. And this is an area where there's been some buying. So again, is he going to rock it up? I don't know, but probably worth putting on your radar. Young player that's having an awesome season here, and that's pretty cheap stuff for a high level receiver. All right, Devontae Adams having an awesome season as well, and getting beat up. So coming back into an area where there's been the trend has been down for a while and continues to remain down. And if you're trying to flip these things, good luck, man. You have an awesome season, card goes up. You're having an awesome season, card goes down. So I wish I could help you more on this one. Just Devontae continues to grind lower. I thought it was a pretty good value, but when he broke, we had to get a slight uptrend here. When it broke, it's like, all right, trend down. So whatever, continues to grind lower. That's a one-off here, so the next move could be up, and that price may prove to be a pretty good one. So we shall see. Tyreek Hill, bottom of the range, getting a little bit of a lift here. Nice little bottoming pattern. So if he can get going, that means the guy throwing him the ball could get going. And so Pat Mahomes sitting at kind of support as well may get a bit of a lift if they're able to tag team and get this thing going again here. All right, basketball. Michael Jordan, PSA 8, sideways action here. So sitting towards this lower of his range. What is this, like 8,000 on the downside, 10, 12,000 on the upside or something like that. So not a lot going on, but it does, again, put kind of a cap on other players. They're not going to be able to go up if he doesn't. So Vinsanity, future Hall of Famer Vinsanity, hanging around a couple $100, and so the PSA 10, so that 98 Topps Chrome with a population of 430. It's like why are we buying Luka for $600 when he has all those different parallels and variations, and he's a couple years into his career, and versus here's a Hall of Famer at a pretty interesting level here. So KG, another one of those here. So see if those guys can get it going a little bit. KG sitting at the bottom of the range. A lot of buying here, a lot of buying here. There's a lot of buying up here and on the way down as well, but this area is a little bit more significant. So somewhere in this range here. So currently sitting at $200. A lot in the $300 range. So it's going to bat around just a little bit, but that looks interesting. Now if it goes below this, there's nobody here that remembers buying that, so it could go a lot lower. But I like KG at that price here. Again, those Hall of Famers, versus the guys that have been around for a few years that are selling for multiples of that. It's like I don't get it. So Kevin Durant uptrend is intact, but he couldn't hold on to the outside of his range here. So this is your key support level. If this doesn't hold on, you're going to see lower prices, and again, you'll probably see lower prices for everybody if KD can't hang on, your number one scorer for the year here. So the PSA 9. And so, yeah, real quick, look at the price. You're sitting at $5,600 on that one, and then the PSA 9. There are a lot more of them out there, so it's not fair to say, hey, it should be 3 to 1 or anything like that. I mean, there's 4 times as many cards out there, so there is, but should it be 20 to 1? The price basically. So versus a 9 versus a 10, I don't know about that one. So interesting level support, and I think there's a lot of relative value there. So. But that does kind of lead me to believe that that 10, if it does keep coming down, we've seen it enough in a lot of other cards. It's going to come down to some multiple of this card, and it's not going to be 20 to 1. And so Giannis consolidating sideways here, so your uptrend broken, and it's like, okay, now get ready for more sideways action. Not sure it needs to make new lows or anything like that, because he's pretty terrific. But coming in this area where there's a lot of buying, and that's where we're at here. So this consolidation will give us a hint of are we going back up, or we're going to continue the slide down? We'll have to we'll just monitor that situation. It'll give us a hint one way or another at some point. So we'll keep watching it. You come here every Friday or Saturday. We'll have it for you here. So John Morant. Breakout, retesting that one as well. So lower price cards, at least people are getting some interest in. So the higher end cards could come down or whatever, but the lower end cards could still hold up because they're still just they're not at multiples of those cards, or they're so far off of those multiple $1,000 cards that they could do all right here. So a lot of buying in this area here. It gets around $200 again. That's probably where you go. And what is he, a top 5 player this year, scorer at least? So Donovan Mitchell right there with him. Trend remains down, but you're into a key support zone as well. So again, trend remains down on a lot of these cards here. So just you got to be kind of picky if you're trying to make money off of this one. You go with those high priced ones where you can probably hold your value a little bit more, or you go for the low priced ones that can go from $5 to $20. And if you're just a collector, then don't worry about it. All right, Luka, we had the breakdown a couple weeks ago with the retest, and it continues to grind its way lower. $627. It's a fresh low off of this one here. And with this consolidation, again, and I'm thinking if you get down to $400, that's not going to be the biggest surprise in the world. All right, hockey, Connor McDavid, man, jeez. All right, if you're trying to make a buck, I mean, hockey's holding up relatively well here. So sideways action, but it's a pretty reliable range here. So down here, could he make a run for the highs? And you saw it. So he's at his high point here, and that's where selling is taking place. And you're seeing it come off just a bit on that one. So maybe it's hockey's turn to pull back just a little bit here. Leon just saw. Leon? I don't know. Breaking out, but it looks like it's going to have to come back at a minimum to retest here, back where there's some more buying. So again, hockey, it's been doing really, really well, but maybe just take a step back and watch some of these guys for a little bit here. Alexander Ovechkin, again, top of his range near the all-time highs as well, so expect him to perhaps come off just a little bit here. Kyle Connor having a terrific season, top of his range coming off just a little bit. So it's been, hockey, again, they've been doing really, really well, but the risk reward is unfavorable on a lot of these things here. So we could see some rotation out of hockey. Lionel Messi do a little bit of wild card action here, continues to grind lower, so at support, and you're starting to see prices compress quite a bit here. So a lot of buying on the way down. So who knows how this works out? But again, a breakout is positive, and a breakdown is a negative. But for the time being, the trend does remain down. So it's something just to be patient and watch for a while here. And we'll wrap it up with Machamp, Pokemon here. So trend remains down. So honestly, the card market as a whole, you just kind of have to pick your spots. If you're a flipper, this was a great time to do it when people were willing to pay higher prices. Right now, people are not willing to do that. So you need to be really good at picking out kind of those lower end cards that, raw for the most part, $5, $10 cards that can double or triple, just because people don't think too much about paying $20 for something or $30 for something. They'll just do it if that's a card that they want. And if you're a collector, then don't sweat it too much, because you just make sure you're not spending more than you can than you can afford to lose or anything like that. But hockey's it's been terrific, but that's starting to come off a little bit. The football is continuing to grind harder. A few spots there that are but it's getting interesting, at least for some of those quarterbacks. Basketball cards continue to grind lower as well, and baseball looks like it's maybe starting to flatten out in some areas here. So it's a wild market. Hopefully we'll try and guide you through it, but we'll just try and pick our spots and have some fun with it. That's what I got for you. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.